Tonight, a Markham resident faces indecency charges. A second bank branch is set to close in York Region, and Brampton's hockey arena now has a new name. Sunny, high of 7 in the forecast. This update is brought to you by Frank Cotolo at 148.ca. Frank speaks to ride-sharing drivers. Uber details at 148.ca/Frank. I'm Philip Hong from the SR National News Center. Now here's a bunch of guys with Uber details with harness racing. Here's Ray, Rod, and Mike with North American Harness Update on 20th Anniversary Uber SRN1.
The starter has called the field to the gate. This field is in motion and approaching the start. And they're off. And it's a battle into the first turn for control. The battle continues by the half and approaching the far turn. Stride for stride past the three-quarter pole and approaching the top of the stretch. And as they hit the top of the stretch, it's Mission Brief, foiled again, Muscle Hill, Captain Treacherous, and Vegas Vacation, Lucky Jim, a rock and roll dance, Be a Magician, Sebastian K approaches the line, Guccio is coming late, and as they hit the wire, it's too close to call.
Now here's North American Harness Update on SRN1.
When I was a little boy, I used to travel the countryside, and I would do so very loudly, apparently, as my voice could just echo through the fields of barley and grain, because I was gifted with that for some reason. Not strength to lift up cars, not the ability to cure diseases, no. I was just an obnoxious jerk with a really loud voice. And with that, I would run through the fields and not really accomplish much of anything. It was not that inspiring a story, which is pretty much a full representation of my life up to this point. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of North American Harness Update. Back with you, Ray Cotolo. I was out last week, and my two guys over here, Mike Pribozie and Rod Allums, filled in, did a great job from what I heard. However, Rod, I don't think you really had to go off on that much of a rant about the welfare system. Like, to me, that seemed like a little much. And Mike, I know you love baseball, but I mean, you gotta keep your focuses centered, and that's me saying that. Gotta keep the focuses centered. But I'm glad you guys are here back with us, and also joining us, a special guest, as I'm for some reason crooked on the video feed. That's the best it's gonna get, Mr. Charlie B. I don't know if you want the B to stand for anything. We can make up what it stands for. I can make it stand for a lot of things. B for bird, B for Bert, like Bert and Ernie. But Charlie, first off, welcome and thank you for joining us here for this show.
Thank you so much, Ray.
That felt both so genuine and ingenuine, and I feel like that's why I really like you. But
well, the word you should have used was sarcastic, but okay. That's what I was gonna say.
A new host coming next week.
However, for those of you watching on the video feed, you can currently see me donning our exclusive North American Harness Update apparel. However, in an effort to try and, boost sales, I decided I'm going to try and, market a little more and kind of flaunt it a little more. So tonight, I'm going to try and raise the sex appeal.
Ooh.
Taking off the glasses, and I'm getting word right now, sales have not gone up. In fact, they're plummeting. I'm getting word that people are actually returning merchandise now. They must be so offended by how I look. So this Mike and Rod
Put
just
it back on.
this has turned out to be a very ironic turn of events, because most people say I look better without my glasses, but then again, those people aren't sober. Tonight on the show, I'm not going to go further into that. Tonight on the show, we have racing, as we should. It's a harness racing show. And Mike and Rod, I thought you guys would find that funny, especially with me saying that. Charlie, you're technically in on the joke, too. You're basically a host on this show. You listen to the show. You know the mythology. You know the lore. You know the storylines.
Sorry, Ray, I'm not a psychologist, no.
We have the late pick 4 from London that we're going to talk about and start previewing momentarily with Charlie because he threw together a ticket. We have a little graphic for him. All of these will be going up on Twitter and Facebook in a moment. Rod, how many minutes are we from the late pick 4 at London?
A few.
That's not a number that helps me. I need 5 minutes. Oh boy, we got to get going. So the 7th race at London starts the late pick 4 sequence. It's a guaranteed pool of $5,000. The 7th race is a claimer. I remember this. I'm feeling very stressed right now. It's great to be back, and I love the pressure that this show gives me. It's similar to an ulcer. So this is an $8,500 claimer. It's a trot, purse of $5,000, and we are scratched down to a field of 7 with the 6 victories peanut gonzo, like the bean. That said, it's actually garbanzo. They aren't called gonzo beans. But I'm going to send it off. How about, we'll send it off to you, Mike, to start us off because you're 3 deep. I'm pretty sure you're 3 deep. I don't think you substitute the 6 here.
Yeah, 3 deep. I'm going to use the 1 Ray for the winner, just moving inside. This horse had raced well earlier in February. And
somebody's volume is way up.
Nobody's volume is way up.
Getting good checks then, had outside posts and was not racing quite as well. I like the move inside. The 5 facing Justice is obvious, dropping, was outside last time, made a big move and then leveled out. Better post, Shepherd back on, like that one. And then the 7, Spicy Victor, has won 3 in a row at this 8,500 level. Likely favorite, but stuck in the 7 hole. That could be an issue, 157.
Now, Rod, you're also 157 here. Anything to add?
With the 1, this horse was really good, 4, 5, and 6 back. Last time just had no chance. He was trying to keep him flat. Drops back down to a level where he's supposed to be the favorite. 2 starts ago, he was the favorite, and he made a break before the gate folded, so he was just out of the race. This is really my key play in this race, and I think you're going to get an okay price, especially for him, so make sure you use that horse.
Oh, thank God. I was stuck in that pose until you stopped talking. And as for you, Charlie, you expound upon that a little more. You take the 157, but you're adding another.
I'm not adding another. I'm just 1,578 in this race. I think that the 7 and 8 are the top 2 horses in this race. But I think if maybe for some reason that the front end collapses, that the 1 has a chance to come and run down those horses.
Now, you're 4 deep with the 1, 5, 7, 8. Mike and Rod both with only the 1, 5, and 7. I'm tossing the 5 completely. I want this horse nowhere near anything that I possibly love or dream of, mostly because I don't like the fact that she's dropping into a claimer off of subpar efforts, dropping down in class. Seems like he's just kind of jonesing for a spot where he might be able to collect checks, and that's not really the kind of horse I want. I'm sorry. I don't need to apologize. I have standards for a reason. That said, I'm 178 here. Hooray for the winner. I was back and forth throwing onto the ticket, but because she draws the rail and because if she stays flat, she could potentially be forwardly placed, and she has a good record of being forwardly placed and doing well there in the past, she could possibly perform well here. But in all honesty, this race is surrounded by Spicy Victor and whatever he does and whether he's good enough or not. Plus, Go Get Bruce should be able to get into the mix if the 1 leaves from the rail. So I'm 178 in the first leg of the sequence. Second leg is the 8th race. It's a $15,000 filly and mare claiming pace, purse of $5,600 on the line, and we have 8 horses lining up here. Mike, to start off with you, 3 deep.
3 deep, the 3 obvious ones. The 1, New Boston Town, the 1, 4 out of 5, and just missed in the other one, draws the rail. The 3, Sparkle, comes off 2 qualifiers. 1 had broken equipment, just pitched it. The second one, crushed by 9. I like the post, won 7 times last year. And then the 4, Daenerys. This horse is a little bit of a closer, could get a setup, and was bet to 8 to 5 last time at this level. 1, 3, 4.
Now, Charlie, I understand you're also 1, 3, 4. Is there anything else?
I will only say that the only sleeper horse into this race could be number 8, Emotions. Jay Harris is a hot driver going on right now, and sometimes those horses coming in from Flamborough can be tricky at London. So 1, 3, 4 looks like
I want to stop you real quick because Jay Harris is watching right now.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
While driving? That's impressive.
That was a nice cue there. Are you going to go to me now? Are you done?
Yeah,
I'm done.
Yeah, he's done. So, Rod, you're too deep, and I agree with you here. Talk about the 2 horses so I don't have to.
Yes, I'm going 1 and 3. I thought the race was pretty simple. The one has been razor sharp the last 5 starts. Winner of 4 of those 5 and got beat in neck the other time. Have to use from the rail. And then the 3 Sparkle. That's a good qualifier. Maybe this horse turned the corner. We know this horse is quick enough to beat these 7-time winner last year. I think have to use, especially off of that good qual.
Rod, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, I probably could have, but I really don't want to. 1-3 for me in the second leg. Third leg is the 9th race. $7,000 filly and mare open claimer. We got 1, 2, 4, 8 horses lining up here. Mike, to start, Rod, are you trying to say words right now, Rod? Rod, are you trying to say words right now?
Yes. Jay Harris said he doesn't like my picks because I didn't pick his horse.
That sounds like a bit like nepotism. So, Mike, for you, too deep in this third leg, do you use Jay Harris this time?
No Jay Harris, although maybe he might not be a bad ad. But I'm a little chalky here. The 5 and 6. 5 comes off the claim for Shepherd. Will be sub-even money for sure. And then the 6, Jeremy's Jewel. Speed last time. Pretty easy win from the rail. Needs a setup. It's going to have some speed around, though, so 5 and 6.
You know, funny that Jay Harris is watching because this is turning into the Jay Harris bit is what we're doing right now. But with the 7 horse in this race, I thought the only way this horse has a shot is if she leaves. So I don't know if that means anything. I don't know if Harris could add to that in the comments whatsoever. But to Charlie,
it looks like he's trying to come on the show. Maybe he's going to come on.
I'm not stopping anyone from coming on. I just got to make sure I stand my ground.
On the spot. Jay Harris is coming on.
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Wait, but don't we have like 2 minutes until post?
We have actually 35 seconds.
35 seconds? Oh,
Well, everybody sees the tickets.
Okay, the tickets are out. Charlie, I'm sorry. I'm just going to rely that you have a good opinion and that your graphic looks nice.
Oh, what a cheat guess. Okay.
All right. We've got a few seconds. Give some shout outs because we got a ton of people watching right now on Facebook. Adriana Sorella watching, Perry Lambert, Daniel Kahn, who watches us every week, Tim Mansfield, Roy Wilson, Ryan Pfister, Travis Henry's watching right now.
God, all of this is it's just saying pressure to me as I'm getting ready to call this race. This 7th race from London, scratched down to a field of 7. Spicy Victor, the 7 horse, the favorite at 8-5. Co-favorite here, the 5 Facing Justice, also 8-5. And then 2-1 on the 8, Go Get Bruce. I'm alive to the 1-7-8. Mike and Rod to the 1-5-7. Charlie's got all of them 1-5-7 and 8.
Yes, I do.
As they're getting ready to line up. Oh, I just realized Jay Harris isn't driving in this race. That's how he's watching. Okay. That just clicked.
That would be really cool if he was.
That just clicked in my head. I mean, you need 2 hands on the reins in order to, drive in Canada, or else you get a 15-day suspension. What do I know? So this race is lining up in motion and approaching the start. 7th from London is off and rolling. Schrader, Hanover out with Abe's, Earl, and alongside Facing Justice with Hooray for the winner from the inside, leaving 2 around that first turn. Getting the front here, Schrader, Hanover from Hooray for the winner second. As they move on to that opening quarter, parked out then Abe's, Earl by Go Get Bruce sneaking up the inside now to take 3rd. Little Wheelhouse then back 5th. Ducking towards 6th, Facing Justice towards the back of the field, Spicy Victor, the 6-5 favorite as they move on down the backstretch, led by Schrader Hanover, leads by 2 1/4. Hooray for the winner second, 30-1. That opening panel, Abe Earl left out, now advancing uncovered with about 2.5 lengths to make up around that far turn first time. Catching that cover, Shepard and Facing Justice, as well as Spicy Victor third over. So turning to the stretch first time, Schrader Hanover leads 4 in, 3 out as Abe Earl tries to advance on the outside second. Alongside then Hooray for the winner from the pocket. Then it's back to Go Get Bruce, locked in by Facing Justice on cover through a 1:01 and 4 half mile. Moving into that clubhouse turn, 10-1 here. Schrader Hanover has some separation over Hooray for the winner. Leads by 2.5, now 3 to the backstretch. Abe Earl not advancing on the outside, dropping back in between horses as Facing Justice circles 3 wide. On her back then comes Spicy Victor. Go Get Bruce looks for room to the inside as they move on to 3/4 to catch here. Schrader Hanover leads by 4-1, 31-1. Closest threat, Facing Justice looming closer. Hooray for the winner drops back to the inside of Spicy Victor, who moves up into third as they turn for home. Schrader Hanover in front. It's Schrader Hanover, Facing Justice gaining ground. Go Get Bruce third. Spicy Victor back fourth, coming to the 8th pole. It's still Schrader Hanover holding sway, and Schrader Hanover's gonna go coast to coast. Facing Justice second. Go Get Bruce third from Spicy Victor in 2:01 and 4.
Jay Harris is on with us, everybody. Welcome,
right.
Jay. Who else you got over there? We can see some other.
What? There's more people.
Wow, we got the whole London room.
This is so. Oh my God.
Everybody's on. Everyone that's not on the racetrack right now is in there.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know if I'm starstruck or embarrassed.
This is really an unprecedented view for people that aren't horsemen. Nobody gets the view of the driver's room.
Yeah, this is it.
It's exactly how I envisioned it.
No flats.
And a bunch of dudes.
I mean, more couches than I thought.
Yeah. So what about your guys' picks? I don't really like them.
Well, I mean...
Well, none of us had that horse.
Yeah, do you guys know something we don't?
It was a trainer change. How come you guys didn't pick up on that?
Because we don't have programs that say that.
Was it a trainer change?
I don't know. No, I saw a trainer change in it.
Yeah, well,
Still didn't use. Still didn't use.
yeah, that trainer's got a 132 average. Why would you bet that works?
I mean, 132, now that you say that.
Wow. You on the show before the race.
Well, I was trying.
That's true, you were.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, now that you tried hard enough to get here, let's talk about some drives. How about that?
All right.
Yeah, let's talk about some of those drives you have coming up.
All right.
Which I have to remember what races you're on because I'm a prepared host. I obviously know this, but for your reference, in case you might have forgot.
Yes.
Let's see. You're
About emotions.
emotions.
Emotions, yeah. Drop it in class.
That's all you got?
I've never driven the horse, don't know anything about it, but it's dropping in class. It faces a very easier group, but it looks like it's one-dimensional.
Yeah, I agree with the one-dimensional.
Is that Colin Kelly next to you?
Yeah.
Who's he got in there?
London driver right there.
He's a typical East Coaster.
Oh.
There's nothing wrong with East Coast.
There's everything wrong with them.
Wait.
So you lose on my side with the East Coasters.
Look at these
All right,
guys
so-
hanging out.
so-
Man, this is awesome.
We got a little bit of insight from the racetrack. Who gets the most crap in the driver's room, stuff like that. Give us a little more inside info up there because we are coming up there.
Scott Young, 100%. Yeah, he takes all the abuse.
Is Scotty in
He
there?
does deserve it. And then that fellow there, he takes
Why does he deserve it? Why is-
Because they're idiots. That's an idiot.
I mean, Scott Young's the only one I know who's fallen out of a race bike in a post parade.
No, in the paddock.
Oh yeah, not even in the post parade, in the paddock.
So, yeah. Well, yeah, he takes the cake. If you just hear him talk, though, you'll understand why.
I don't really understand.
So, you got it there, Hawaiian drumming from the outside. What do you know
I don't
about
like
this
it.
one?
It runs in really bad. It runs out really bad. It's not much fun. I just don't like the horse.
Those seem to be pretty common at the beach tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, if only they had better horses at the beach tracks.
What about Little Quick in the last race?
I like that horse. He's all right. I think he'll be legit.
He can't say too much because Colin, who's right next to him, is driving It's Macademic, who I actually have picked on.
He'll probably fuck the race up.
More than likely.
Well, I mean, Colin, you could tell us right here what you want to do in that race.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, he's gonna roll it. What the fuck else would he do?
I haven't rolled him since like 7 start. February the 9th, he hasn't been on the front.
You're on the front of the
Oh,
three-quarter
so
pole.
you're not allowed to move to the front in the race? No,
It
he's not
rocks.
to. He's not to.
Look, they're arguing. We got them arguing.
I like that we have him reading the program.
Early you want.
I like drivers reading the program. That's a good sign.
Your time in, Charlie.
Yeah. He needs to read it more.
Jay Harris's Little Quick will win the last race. I beg to differ.
Well, Jay thinks he's going to win every race.
That's why he's always on the front early. He tries to win every race.
Well, I mean, if you just watch London, that's how you win.
Dad named that horse after Jay's sex life.
Little Quick.
all we need to do is get Charlie on the show, and then everybody comes and hijacks it. It's beautiful. I
Yeah.
love it.
Like, the driver's room is just so
Where else
magical.
can you get entertainment. You can't get this anywhere else.
There's Rob Shepard.
Rob,
That's all he's
how
got.
many you gonna win?
Oh, I'm in this race. Take over.
Jay says he's in this race, that he can't talk anymore. So
Oh, well, how come you're not in this race then, Colin?
I'm not into the last.
Why, though?
What are you
Great.
I'm not good enough.
Okay, it's so long as you say it, because then I don't feel bad saying it.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Anyway, guys, you guys enjoy your night. We're gonna get back to everything here.
Oh, all right,
All right,
fine.
thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Tell you good luck.
Stay safe.
He'll have this on the front, even though it doesn't steer that well. He doesn't mind.
Everyone stay safe, clean races. I want to make sure everyone comes back. Because I want to hear you guys just mess with one another again.
Thank you, everybody, for coming on. We appreciate it.
Rubbing his race.
That was very strange. that
That was hilarious.
that was the epitome of chaos right there. It kind of reminded me.
I don't think
It worked.
you know how many viewers had watching that.
Oh, that was awesome.
It kind of reminded me. Do you guys remember the one show on Animal Planet about jockeys? Except it was terrible. I feel
Yes,
like
we remember that.
I feel like you need one for the driver's room, but just don't edit it.
Yeah, it would have to be on HBO.
The
It would have to be Cinemax. HBO wouldn't let us on. Are you kidding me?
the Deaf Horseman Comedy Jam. Oh, that was.
We're barely alive on Facebook right now.
Okay, so where are we going now? What are we doing, boys?
Well, I mean, now I think it's time, because I've got questions for Charlie that I purposely, because Charlie's been on the phone with us for a while, and I purposely didn't ask him these questions because, I kind of wanted to get to know him on the show a bit more. Because Charlie, you were admittedly an enigmatic figure in the scope of the NAHU world. So I guess firstly, because are you from Michigan? First off.
I'm from Michigan, yes.
So then, how are you exposed to racing out there?
So I stay about 10-15 minutes away from Hazel Park. So I've been going to the racetrack since I was about 3-4 years old. And when I was younger, I was going to the racetrack maybe at least 3-4 times a month, if not more. So since the age of 3-4 years old, I used to always go to Hazel Park. And back then, they had harness racing. But about 4 or 5 years ago, they switched over to thoroughbreds at Hazel Park and took the harness to Northfield Downs.
So then that's traditionally from like 3 years old to what point in your life you're going to Hazel Park?
Correct. From 3 years old, Hazel Park.
But you clearly don't go there much anymore.
No, because they have thoroughbreds and they're like cheap $5,000 clamor Mountaineer type horses.
Mountaineer type horses though, they're magical in their own sense. That place is.
You play a lot of Mountaineer though too, don't
Yeah.
you, Charlie?
I do. I mean, believe it or not, those cheap races bring prices.
No, they do. That's a place I can't play, but it's.
Yeah.
You know, I get it. I know what you're doing, but.
That also leads me to my next question of curiosity. When do you start betting then?
When did I start betting?
Yeah, that you can say on the air.
Are you the FBI? I was probably having wagers played probably when I was like 10 years old.
When you were 2 years old?
No, 10.
Ah.
10.
He's been firing since
I
he's
was
been
having
10.
wagers played when I was 10.
So the question I had, because I've raced at Hazel Park.
Mm-hmm.
Now the horses have to cross the street to get to the track.
Right.
Were you one of the hecklers underneath the grandstands that came out by where they roped it off, where the walkway was to get across there? Were you one of the hecklers that was always out there?
Sometimes because they have like the 2 security guards onto like both sides with like the ropes, and like if you start getting into like the drivers too much, they'll say knock it off.
See, they didn't do that when I came up there because it was the first time I had raced there. I had 5 horses in, and I had some guy heckling the crap out of me that night, and he was just going off on me. Go back to Chicago. You suck. Chicago horses suck. Blah, blah, blah. And he just kept going off. And they didn't say a word to him. Every horse I drove 5 horses that night.
So then.
They didn't say one word.
So then the question is, Charlie, what does Michigan have against Chicago?
I don't know.
Chicago seems like a perfectly nice place. Then again, Rod, you also, for some reason, have had the most hostile people yell at you, including throw things at you, particularly beer cans.
Well, that's part of harness racing, I guess, is being heckled. Like any sport in the world, you're gonna get heckled.
Well, Rod, my question is, was that on $2 beer night? Because anything might have happened. So, was that $2 beer night?
Balmoral didn't have $2 beer night, and I don't know. No, because it was a Saturday night that I drove there the first time.
Okay.
So Saturday night, there's never any specials anywhere.
Right, that's true. It's always Fridays.
Yep.
So I want to say, like, Charlie, you're a pretty big fan of the show. Like, you were listening to us back when we had no video. You'd pay attention to the picks and things like that. What like drew you to the show?
Well, first of all, like I say, like, I love racing in general, but harness racing is like my first love, or however you want to spin it. Harness racing is my main focus. So any type of article or radio show or video that involves harness racing, I take a hold to it. I show support to like any type of harness racing that's going. I try to show support to it because, like I say, when I was growing up, that's all that I watched at Hazel Park was harness racing.
That's how I kind of got started too. Like I started when I was a kid. We had like a Meadows off track here and went up, and that was what was playing in the amphitheater. Meadows Racing, and that's where I started. I had it on TV at my house, and I was able to watch that. And I'd go up, drive up 20 minutes, get a program, be able to watch it at home. That's how I learned how to handicap. So
I feel like I'm the only one of us that started with thoroughbreds.
Because you are. We're pure blood.
That sounds like
somehow it's
political.
Your show, Ray, so I don't know what.
Well, clearly my other ventures have been paying off.
Hey, this is starting to get bigger.
I'm saying.
I want to give a couple more shout-outs while we got a second.
All right, I'll stop
Jared
talking.
Fry, Albert Nash, huge harness racing fan. My cousin Shannon, Terry Wilson,
Terry's always watching.
Homer.
Oh!
Terry's always watching. Daniel Kahn is always watching. Mitch McKenzie, he's watching again out in New York. That's all I got for now.
Okay.
All right.
0 minutes to London.
When you open up the phone book again, Rod, please just name off the names. At this point,
there's too many. There's too many to keep trying to name them all. So I'm naming what I can when I can.
For the rest of the show, let's just name everybody that's. Let's name everybody that's ever been associated with it.
I like shouting people out because.
I'm just emphasizing the fact that this is a phenomenon now.
Listen, Mitch McKenzie just says he thinks we're doing a great job.
Well, thank you, Mitch.
Somebody likes us.
Thank you.
Somebody likes us. He's here. Look at that.
And Mitch McKenzie's a big deal.
I've been striving for his approval for years.
2 minutes to London.
2 minutes to London. This race, the one New Boston Town, 3 to 5. Do we think that she should be 3 to 5? Everyone at once did that.
I mean, she's supposed to take a ton of money here. She's won 4 out of 5 and just got beaten neck to one start, and she draws the rail. And she's a speed horse, so
right.
It
could set up the 8 a little. I think I've overlooked the 8 some here.
The 8 for me is either on the front or nothing, because that last race was very bad.
But I think that if the 8 sits like a really good trip, this 8 has a big chance. But he's going to need a trip, though. I mean,
yeah, I think she's going to need the 2-hole trip. But the only problem I see is if the 3 does go, this race could get a little bit crazy early.
Well, that's the thing. The entire race hinges on what the 3 does, I believe, because the 4 is going to sit. The 8 has to sit because it's behind the 1. If the 3 goes, it could really change the dynamic of the race, especially if the 1 doesn't want to let him go. So,
with 30 seconds to post,
Harry Wilson says, even Ray is doing a good job. I like this guy.
Whoa.
I mean, I always try to do my best. Ever since my mommy told me.
We got to shout out Tim Twaddle and Butch Taylor real quick.
Oh, nice.
Hey. Tim was on our Meadows show, which you can find on archive anywhere. Just Google it. January 19th. I still remember the day. That was a great night.
That was a fun night, though.
That was a fun night.
Second to the next show we do, which we're going to talk about later on.
That's right. After this race, we'll get more into that. And also, now is the time, because I forgot to say at the top of the show, I was told Frank Cotolo should be joining us at some point.
Oh, wow. What's all the cameos? What are we going to do?
Frank Cotolo, my father, will be stopping by at some point. Meanwhile, they're lining up here for the 8th from London. 3 to 5 on the 1, New Boston Town. 7 to 2 on the 4, Daenerys. Now 3 to 1. Then at 9 to 2, the 8, Emotions. They're moving around the turn. You think if Jay Harris loses this race, he'll never come on the show again?
No, I think he likes coming on.
I was wondering if you were just going to blame us. This field is in motion.
I think if he wins, he'll be back.
Approaching the start. And they're off. Stonebridge Honey leaves out. New Boston Town to the inside. Fights Emotions. Gonna get away third around the first turn as the rest duck in single file to the front here. Trying to take over New Boston Town from Stonebridge Honey to the outside. Emotions stalks closely from third. Fourth then comes Sparkle to the backstretch in front of Daenerys fifth. Sixth then Uptown Woman in front of Ms. Michaela D. And now Who's the Queen on down the backstretch. In front here, Stonebridge Honey. Hudon leads New Boston Town by a length and a quarter through a 28-4 opening panel. Emotions paces third into that turn. Sparkle is caught up from fourth, out of the pocket now. New Boston Town circles by Stonebridge Honey, and tracking that move, Jay Harris and Emotions turning into the stretch first time. New Boston Town takes the lead, but here comes a wave of Emotions on the outside, moving up to take the front from New Boston Town, the odds-on favorite heading to that half. Back third, shuffled back, Stonebridge Honey through a 59-second half, 30-1 that second quarter, circling into the turn. Emotions can't clear as they move on to the back stretch. Emotions and New Boston Town, stride for stride, leading Stonebridge Honey third, now pulling to the outside. Daenerys has moved up the inside to take fourth, soon to be stride for stride with Sparkles on cover from fifth, as Emotions now clears the front heading to three quarters. It's Emotions in front by a length and a half. Outside Stonebridge Honey, dropping back to the inside, New Boston Town, three quarters in 1:28, a 29-second third panel around that final turn. Emotions trying to hold control. Stonebridge Honey to the outside second. Sparkle has moved up to third as they turn into the stretch. It's Emotions in front, outside drifting a touch. Stonebridge Honey only a half length away. Deeper on the track, Sparkle. It's these three into the 16th. Stonebridge Honey from in between takes over, and Stonebridge Honey gonna take it narrowly over Emotions, then Sparkle towards the center of the track third, 159-4. We were, I couldn't have been more wrong.
Me either.
Brutal night at London.
Well, it's a little rough. Whose volume is up again?
No one's volume is up.
Someone's was. Okay, we're good now.
Because no one was talking. That said,
so, I want to say this because Colin Kelly commented on the video right before the race started, and he said, Paul McKenzie says George Large is in here, and he makes speed.
Okay.
Where was he at, Paul? Because I know you're watching right now. Where was he at, Paul? I didn't see him.
He's 0 for 6.
I just know his name is George R. Large, and that must be right, seeing as it's plural.
Well,
I laughed way harder than I should have at that.
Big announcement. Because that's how you introduce big announcements, is just by saying big announcement. I could run over to the piano and make some nonsensical noises, but that's really unnecessary.
thank God you quit doing that.
It's called maturing and recognizing that my musical talents should be saved elsewhere. So, January 19th, we went to the Meadows, and October whatever, we went to Hoosier Park, did live shows there, kind of tested out the waters for a potential endeavor to say that April 20th, that's of this year, April 20th, 2018, North American Harness Update will be live from Vernon Downs, doing another live show. But this is special because aside from our live shows at the Meadows and Hoosier, our Vernon show will not only be simulcast live on our live feed over NAHU Picks, but also off the race feed at Vernon Downs. That's April 20th, 2018. Big plans for that show that we can't really reveal just yet, but it's going to be revolutionary, possibly. I had possibly revolutionary. Not just because I'm associated with it.
If everything goes to plan, it will be the first time you're ever going to see what we're doing.
And that is me do a full hour of stand-up. Oh God, that would
Never.
It's gonna be something though.
Ray, give me the race results from the 8th at London. We need those for the feed.
8th at London, the 2 Stonebridge Honey.
Numbers.
What?
Numbers.
2834.
Got that, Dan?
2834 in the 8th at London, 159 and 4. Stonebridge Honey, 1960 to win. I find it kind of strange that. Wait, has it been 2 prices so far? Who won the first?
Yeah, this is
I
gonna be.
would
Yeah.
never thought that the one would have hit the board. There's no way before the race you'd have told me the one won't hit the board. I'd have said no way.
I thought, and I'm not just like kissing Bud here. Like I thought Harris drove perfect. He just got picked off, but that was a great drive by him from where he was and the move that he made. He just got a little tired, but that's the way you want your horse to be driven if you bet him. I think.
I feel like I can take partial credit because I said to the drivers' faces, you have to be on the front to win at London, and clearly Jay Harris followed. Not like he already did that to begin with. Just saying. I just got to somehow be involved. That's the point I'm making.
Compared to races 2 and 3 tonight, like I'm okay with how that race was driven and the things that were done. So I mean, that was what I want to see if I'm gonna bet.
And
win or lose, I didn't have the winner, but that doesn't matter. Like I like to see the aggression. I like to see guys getting after it and trying to win races.
I feel like we kind of
get prices and how you get things. You know.
You feel like maybe we kind of like stirred up their spirits a bit because we got them trash talking each other.
They seem to be having a good time.
Yeah. I don't know.
And that's what this show is. That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
We want everybody that's on the show to have fun. We want everybody watching to have fun. And that's why we do this interaction on Facebook, Twitter, wherever everybody's watching. We want everybody to be involved and have fun with it. And that's why we got Charlie B on.
Yeah, because Charlie B wouldn't be on NBC with Bob Costas. No, not to say you couldn't, Charlie. Follow your dreams, you can make it. But
I know. You're living proof of it, Ray.
You and my therapist agree. So, what else from here? We have other dates we could announce.
Go ahead,
Yes,
Ray.
we do.
April 20th at Vernon. May 19th, Preakness Day. We're going up to Mohawk. We're going to be doing a show there. We're still working out the technical aspects of how that one's going to go. But May 19th, the date is secured. NAHU will be live from Mohawk. Do we have June booked? Is June good?
June, Hawthorne, June 22nd.
June 22nd, Hawthorne.
Wow, look at all this.
And again, that one will be working out the kinks as that date comes closer. We have Adios Day, correct?
Back at the Meadows.
Back at the Meadows. We're there. Adios Day, July 29th. It's the last Saturday in July.
Before we talk about them.
It's the well, that's also why I added the question mark.
It is July 28th.
I was only off by one. Only off by one. And I would still fail the calculus test. July 28th.
So what else do we have tonight? We have Meadowlands pick 4 for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. That'll be coming up in the second hour, and Levy's.
We're going to try to rip everything into that second hour.
I mean, it's the equivalent of doing 2 pick 4s. We've done it before.
Okay.
Because we're on video right now. And we want
I'm on you guys' schedule.
You guys' schedule.
All right.
I'm just here.
Let me go through and do this schedule. So I'm going to give the complete schedule for our live shows at the racetracks for this year right now.
Okay.
Our first show, Vernon.
That's April 20th.
Second show, Mohawk.
May 19th.
That's what I said. I said April 20th.
Okay.
Mohawk, the new Mohawk, May 19th.
That's Woodbine at Mohawk
That is
Park.
on Preakness Day. Hawthorne, June 22nd. That's a Friday. The Meadows, July 28th on Adios Day. the Meadowlands.
Can we say that one yet?
The following Saturday.
Can we say that one yet, though?
I didn't say that one yet.
Okay.
Yes, we have that one.
I didn't know if we did or not yet.
Yes,
Okay.
we have that one. That is Hambletonian Day, which is Saturday, August 4th.
That's going to be a busy week.
August 19th at Tioga for their championship day.
That includes
Several
the
stake races.
That's the one where I
That
had
is
the double.
yes.
Yes. That's
So that was Tioga. Then we have October 5th at Western Fair. And then October 26th and 27th at Pocono at the Breeders' Crown. Those are going to be our live shows for 2018.
2018 live shows.
If anyone wants to donate, advertise, just decide to give us money for no reason, just, contact Rod.
That's Rod at NAHUpicks.com. Which, speaking of NAHUpicks.com,
You can feel free to give us any money to help us pay for these shows because it's not cheap.
it is definitely and
Get there.
and especially considering the funding in the sport, any kind of support, at least it seems like is a drop in the bucket budget wise. We don't really need a lot. We just need enough to, not starve and have to not walk there.
And if you look at these two, they look hungry.
I mean,
Yeah, look at me. Look at me. I have a 32 waist. Come on.
There's
help
kids
me
in
out.
Ethiopia eating better than these two. Come on.
Right. I got to eat off the dollar menu every day.
I'm mostly muscle weight.
White Castles.
Oh, dude, you have a Whitey's right by you. I don't. My sister had to bring me White Castle on Monday. She went back home to Chicago.
Rod is passionate about
and
White Castle.
on the way back, I called her right when she was leaving. I said, please stop and get me Whitey's
Rod is
before you leave.
incredibly passionate about White
And
Castle.
she brought me
I love how we transitioned from the massive live schedule to Rod's fast food habits. Do we talk about racing at all?
Invention of all time.
White Castle's the greatest invention of all time. I would have to go with fire, Rod.
That's not an
Fire.
invention.
That's natural. It doesn't count.
Fire is an invention. I had
No,
a
it is
whole
not.
look.
Unless you're going to count stuff made by Jesus. It is Good Friday after all.
It's also the Sabbath.
God made fire.
When the Sabbath's Saturday.
Okay, we're going off the rails here somehow.
The point being is man's ability to create fire is an invention.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. The technology necessary to make fire is an invention. A flint and steel or a flint and a flint. I don't know how they did it back then.
I'd like to see God have a lightning strike somewhere and create fire on your hair.
Mike, is now the time to really hit on me?
Not really, Butch. Not really.
I'm going to do a couple more shout-outs right now. And no, Daniel, In-N-Out Burger is not even close to as good as Whitey's.
It's not!
So don't.
It's never going to be
Don't
as
say that.
good. No!
Okay. Couple shout-outs. Mike Bozich is watching.
What up, Mike?
Forrest Morello is watching.
Yeah.
Ian Holler is watching. Chris Bulak is watching.
What up, Bulak?
Shout out to people. There's a bunch of other people. I think Travis Seekman was watching.
What up, Seekman?
I lost count.
I figured if
Count everybody.
I figured
We
if
got,
I
what,
was
4 minutes to London.
4 minutes to London, I was figuring if I shouted out those names in a wrestling style voice, that would get me a lot of press. But that's aside the point. The point
We can't
here,
get Ric Flair on the show, so you might as well channel something.
and that something is my favorite brother. What's good, brother?
We need more Charlie. That's right.
Yeah, Charlie, how's your day going?
Right.
My day is going okay, Ray.
That's good. Did you have a good meal?
Are you sweet talking me?
Charlie, are you stealing the bit I just said to Mike 3 minutes ago?
No.
It seems to be working better.
I mean, I'm just trying to be a good host. I'm trying to make sure everyone's having a good time. I'm trying to make sure that everyone had enough to eat, has scrum-diddly-umptious meal, and the tum-tums, and then they go do the show. I'm just trying to do my job. While standing around like a gremlin with my back hunched and my hands out going, what? And I spin around. My entire life, guys, is a joke. This race is coming up at London. 2 minutes to post. This horse that's currently even money is a Pat Shepard claim, or first off the claim for Pat Shepard. So you can tell why this horse is 6-5. I actually explicitly remember seeing earlier this week, Charlie, you tweeting, and I quote, "Seems like everything Pat Shepard touches can't lose."
I did tweet that, and
yeah.
I think that's going to be proven true into this race with McCovey Cove in too.
Did you say Macaulay Culkin?
McCovey Cove in.
Macaulay Culkin? From Home Alone fame?
No.
Oh my. Ray, be nice to Chuck, please.
Well,
listen, I had this horse picked on top as well on NAHUpicks.com. I don't know if any of you have checked it out today, but obviously a lot of people have because we're pretty popular.
I mean, you don't have to put it so pompously. I mean, but you could all NAHUpicks.com. I mean, is the greatest handicapping site since Socrates.net when he handicapped the Breeders' Cup. And
by the way, my second choice in this race on NAHUpicks.com currently 13-1 in the 6.
Well, clearly that horse should be your first choice now.
No.
Oh, you don't want?
That's your top pick, Rod, at Western?
No, my top pick is the 5.
Okay.
And it's based on the barn change. I mean, the horse come from a row, so coming out of a good barn as well. But I think it's a tough spot for this horse.
No, here's the question.
But I do sit here.
Here's the question I have, Rod. If the 6 13-1 and is your second choice, you saying that horse is live for the exotics?
Yeah, I just think the 5 is probably going to be too much for the rest of these to handle right now. And Drew Monty,
I like a 5 with the 1-3 as active here.
I'd have to agree with Charlie.
You know, and there's a claimant on the 5. Charlie, I give you crap all the time about not looking at NAHUpicks.com when you lose a bet, and I had the horse or Mike had the horse, and you hate it. You hate it, don't you?
Hey, don't bring up old news. Please don't. Let's speak about something new here. And you're speaking too soon because this race has not went off yet. And I have a good feeling that maybe that the 6 won't be a part of this, and it'll be 5 with the 1-3.
Yeah, I don't like the 6 here either, especially considering the fact that this guy is trained by a fast food mascot.
See, I don't mind the 6 in the race. I like that last race because the horse came over to London and woke up. So I have
from the rail
like stuff like that.
From the rail.
I understand he's not going to get the same script. I understand that he's not going to be on the rail, but something like that is more important to me. And he's raced against this 5 horse before, so you know.
Listen, this horse last week got run at the whole way and still hung on. I thought there was no way at the half. This horse, I thought she was done.
I mean,
and she just kept going.
And she just might like it here. You know, you're going to get a lot more value. You know, you're getting 10-1 right there. Now, does she win it? Who knows? But I'm more interested in her underneath than some of this inside stuff. But that's just how I look at it.
I mean, price-wise, that's a good way to look at it too. You're gonna get a decent value out of this, out of her at least, especially if she goes to the front. Mighty Mouse.
But the 5-6 exact is paying $8, so I don't know how much. You know, really probably more value on the win end than underneath. That 10-1's a little bit false as far as the exotics go.
So that said, this is a race that seems like a pass.
No, this is a race that you go 5 with the 1-3, and you hit that.
What are those probables paying?
A little better than the 5-6.
Really?
5-1 is 920, 5-3 is 2190, and 5-6 is 1330.
Now, Charlie, in terms of like exactas that are paying like that, how do you kind of like gauge values or value in the exotics? Like, what convinces you to play an exacta?
Well, first of all, I need to at least be able to double my money.
Okay.
If the probable won't allow me to at least double my money, I won't touch it because the risk outweighs the reward to it. So it has to be paying at least $4 for $1 for me to even touch it. If not, I'll just stay out of it and find something else to play.
So it seems kind of like you're very liberal in how you approach races, if that makes sense. Where it's like you're betting more loosely, if that makes sense.
Well, with any bet that I do, if a horse to win, exacta, or whatever, I at least need to be able to at least double my money. That's part of the reason I don't play 2 to 5s. I don't play 3 to 5s to win.
Mm-hmm.
It has to probably be at least 8 to 5 or 3 to 2 for me to even touch playing a horse to win.
Okay.
Now, what about like your multi stuff? I mean, you play a lot of multi races too. That's where your focus mostly is, right?
I do. What I've been finding out is horses that are low onto the morning line, like 4 to 5 and 6 to 5, those are the worst horses for you to settle down as a single. Time and time again, you think, okay, here's a free spot, and then next thing you know, during the race, the horse is nowhere to be found or falls short. I've been starting to look to find a horse into the morning line that's 5 to 2, 3 to 1, and use that as a single because short price horses are some of the worst to settle as a free spot.
That said, this field is lining up 4 to 5 on the 5, McCovey Cove. 5 to 2 on the 1, Mighty Mouse. 9 to 2 on a Pint of Delicious. Field in motion at the start and off. And on the outside, McCovey Cove leaves out, as does Jeremiah's Jewel to that first turn, protecting pylon position Mighty Mouse. As the favorite, McCovey Cove edges out to take an early lead as they move around that first turn. Inside, Mock of the Town gets away second, Mighty Mouse third as they move on to that opening quarter. Parked out is Jeremiah's Jewel into fourth in front of TR Lexus Cam. Then it's back to What a Sassy Girl, leading a Pint of Delicious and Hawaiian Drummond in the back of the pack. 28-3 the opening quarter. Around the turn, 1 to 5 favorite McCovey Cove in front by a length and a quarter. Mock of the Town is back second. Mighty Mouse is third as they turn into the stretch first time. Jeremiah's Jewel back fourth, 2.5 lengths off the lead. TR Lexus Cam then fifth. What a Sassy Girl sixth. Seventh, a Pint of Delicious, and out and moving from the back, at least trying to Hawaiian Drummond, half-mile bound, chasing, pursuing McCovey Cove off a minute and 2.5 around the turn. Mock of the Town in the pocket, out and moving, Mighty Mouse uncovered. On his bag, Jeremiah's Jewel as they move to the back stretch. TR Lexus Cam inside fifth. Third over in that flow, What a Sassy Girl, a Pint of Delicious locked in, and is the penultimate of this group. Hawaiian Drummond towards the center of the track, trails on to 3/4, chasing McCovey Cove, under pursuit, outside Mighty Mouse, drawing alongside, and taking a narrow advantage at 3/4, 130-1. These two matching strides around the turn, leading Mock of the Town third. Parked out, dropping back Jeremiah's Jewel as they turn for home, and in front, McCovey Cove outside Mighty Mouse. These two, as they come on down to the 16th pole, Mock of the Town with room to edge up the inside, but Mighty Mouse gets by in the final strides, and Mighty Mouse will win from McCovey Cove. Third then, Mock of the Town, in a time that's just not there anymore.
That's a little tighter than you think.
I think Mighty Mouse got it.
It's a
Yep.
good night if you have the winners here at London.
like the outside.
A lot of inside numbers.
Mighty Mouse was the first horse on my ticket to win. It took 2 legs, but I finally had something right. And it was a trip. With that said, with that done, Charlie, you're welcome to stay with us for the second hour if you want.
As long as you approve, Ray.
I approve of anything, but we got to go to break. And when we come back, we'll have lifted spirits, and I do not mean wine. And we will talk late pick 4 for Saturday at that was a good line. Oh, whatever. Late pick 4 Saturday at the Meadowlands, and then it's already round 3 of the Levies. Wow. Round 3 of the Levies. 4 divisions to talk about for Saturday night at Yonkers. All that and more coming up in the second hour here of North American Harness Update. Stay tuned for that. I am Ray Cotolo, joined by Mike Pribozie, Rod Allums Jr., Charlie B. Coming back around later.
You may find yourself living in a shotgun shack, and you may find yourself in another part of the world, and you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile, and you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife, and you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down, letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue ocean, after the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. And you may ask yourself, how do I work this? And you may ask yourself, what is that large automobile? And you may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful house. And you may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful wife. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue ocean. After the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. Same as it ever was. 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 Water dissolving and water removing. There is water at the bottom of the ocean. Under the water, carry the water. Remove at the bottom, water dissolving and water letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue ocean, into the silent water, under the rocks and stones. There is water underground. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by,
Philippong and Woodbridge. A Markham resident faces indecency charges. York Regional Police say there were instances in February and March of underage females being subjected to a man who exposed himself in public. Vithagan, Cabana, Lindre, 8 counts combined. A second bank branch is set to close in York Region. The TD Canada Trust branch on Yonge and Wellington and Aurora will be closing its doors this summer after a branch review. Accounts are being transferred south while workers could be offered different roles within the bank according to staff. Brampton's hockey arena now has a new name. The local branch of the Canadian Automotive Association has purchased naming rights to what's called Powerade Centre right now for the next 10 years. An arena official claims they had turned down a number of other offers because it wouldn't add value to the centre that the CAA would. Sunny in the forecast, high of 7. I'll have more news on updates on SRN1. For now, I'm Philippong.
Thank you, Phil, and welcome back to more of The Ranch on Netflix. I'm Ashton Kutcher, joined by Mike Pribozie, Rod Allums Jr., and you played that a little prematurely because the man who really deserves it is Charlie B, still with us after the first hour. All of us dead in the Western Fair Pick 4. That's not what dying sounds like.
Somebody needs to dig me up. I'm so dead.
Well, you're a doctor. You should have stuff to fix that. So, coming out of the first hour, like I said, all of us knocked out of this London Pick 4. The will pays, I imagine, are pretty decent. Coming
I'll
into...
look right for you.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. With 8 horses lining up here, the 7 American Legend is scratched. Favorite right now, it's 6-5. The 8 Little Quick. Second choice then at 3-1. The 2 Tiguan Seal Stir. Third choice at 9-2. The 5 it's Macademic. That's in 10 minutes.
They're all covered. The low is the 6. It's like $6.89 for 20 cents. The high, 7,000. That's probably one ticket.
Really? The 6 is low? That horse is 11-1 right now.
Yeah, $6.89.
Wow.
Yeah, they're all good though. They're all signers, as they would say. Not quite anymore, but that's
In the second hour of this show, not only
The thing about the 4 is that this 4 very much could win, though. I mean,
I had that 4.
he's coming off a qualifier, but off a long layoff. But this 4 could win it.
He's talented enough to win the race. The layoff is really the only concern.
Well,
I agree.
I feel like if this horse off of those lame scratches and not racing for at least 8 months parks the first half of the mile and still goes 203, that seems like a decent qualifier.
Yeah, it was a good qualifier. My opinion of the race is he's probably going to duck and just sit and follow first start.
That worked very well for Mighty Mouse in the last race.
Well, the front end hasn't been very good either. I mean, that's
It hasn't. Other than the one race we didn't want it to be.
right.
Which, I mean, that's just how it goes. I think that's some law about Murphy. I don't know. Murphy Brown? I don't know. So in the second hour, not only are there trumpets,
I got trumpets.
very dim trumpets. I don't mean crumpets. I mean...
I don't even have trumpets. I got a trombone.
Ooh, rusty.
And I got a buzzer.
The tone of which you said trombone made me actually think you played the trombone.
No, I played the drums.
Oh, he's played.
Yeah, there's no way you played the trombone in high school.
He's played it.
No, if I tried to play a trombone, it would sound like everybody would leave immediately.
That's just the natural timbre of the trombone.
No, it would just sound like the songs that you play at break.
That was
Not bad a choice tonight, though.
that was
Good
Talking
job,
Heads. Yes.
It was better. It was
Ray.
better.
Good job, Ray.
But nothing compared to what I did last week.
Rod, you probably just played a Run DMC song.
No,
No, that would have actually been better yet.
I played Cardi B.
Oh my! Oh.
Oh yeah, Cardi B. Yeah, I remember tweeting about it.
Yeah.
I'm
Run DMC would be
We
better,
had the
though.
whole audience lit. The whole audience lit, ready to fight.
I'm holding back the vomit right now because we're still on video technically. and that would cause a snowballing effect or a I can't think of a chuck balling. I'm not quick enough on my feet. I'd set myself up well for that. But
Number 1, Cardi B's Hot. Number 2.
That's not really a precursor to how I find good music. Because Hollaback Girl, one of the worst songs ever written.
Yeah, like Tom Petty's the ugliest human that ever lived, and he played good stuff.
I mean, he just wrote the same song for 30 years.
Cardi B's Hot, and that's a good song. Like, I literally want to fight Ray right now, listening to that song, if I turn it on.
All right, can we talk about any race?
Mike, I was trying to. Mike, I was... No, we didn't get... I don't know anything about Woodbine. Mike, I'm on your side. I'm trying to get rolling into Meadowlands because we have to talk about their late pick 4 for Saturday. It's actually an interesting sequence. I say actually as if it's not. It's usually a pretty tough sequence every week. That pool, that pick 4... because that's the wager we're talking about. $50,000 guaranteed pool, races 8 through 11, every race night over at the Meadowlands. Again for Saturday, March 31st. Charlie, you can chime in on this if you'd like. I know you're probably going to be betting the Meadowlands tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
You said that
Everybody knows.
said that with such enthusiasm. I love it. So this late pick 4.
The 8 All-Star Energy.
Wow.
If he runs that mile that he ran last week, he could be tough.
I agree.
He went, 151 flat, and he's 8-1 to the morning line. I think he'll probably get bet down to at least half of that off of that last trip.
Rod and I agree on that. However, Mike, this is a good way to start off this sequence. You're too deep in this first race. It's the Dash for the G-Notes final. No All-Star Energy at all, but you're too deep.
Well, I mean, I could see the 8, but, you know, there's 2 others in here that I think are a little better, and starting with the 4, who's likely favorite, More Dragon, crushed last time in 50-3. You don't really see any 50-3s on this page other than that one, and, you know, was 1-2 in that race, keeps McCarthy. Any sort of repeat just murders these. I could see the 8 getting the front again, but I thought the race was set up for that horse to win, and you know, went 55 early, but just couldn't hold on. Draws outside again, has to go again, is likely going to either have to face pressure or, you know, a retake from the 4 to begin with, and that, I think, creates issues for that one. The other one I like is the 9, All It Takes, who rallied from an impossible spot last time from the 9 hole for Burke. And that was in that goofy race when Bubba Bruiser broke at the wire and somehow this course got up. It looked like had no chance even the last, 10 steps and found a way. So I like that rally, especially off the layoff. I like that this horse is going to be able to close in a race that's filled with a bunch of horses that are going to be like to go early. Any sort of rally like the last one, and this horse could be on the wire. So I'm 4-9.
A long shot play in this race could possibly maybe be the 10 if there's chaos in the race.
Yeah, that's a good pick too. That horse flew last time.
Well, Rod, for you, you're 3 deep, and you agree with Mike just adding the horse Charlie was talking about earlier, All-Star Energy.
Yeah, I'm going 4-8-9 here. The 4, like Mike said, keeps Andrew McCarthy. Got a perfect trip last time, but raced really, really well. He popped out of the pocket and flew home. I think you have to use him. The 8 All-Star Energy. Like Charlie said, this one raced really well last time on the front end. Just got a little bit tired late. If he gets softer fractions or gets a covered up trip, this horse is going to be real tough at a decent price. And then the 9, second off the layoff, won his first start, first over, loses his driver, but it's Burke. This horse should be primed and ready to go. The kicker is the outside post. So 4-8-9.
I'm 4-8-9 as well, but in the trend of adding horses, I add one more, and unfortunately it's not the 10 Danish du jour. I agree that the race could set up for him, and he could be the right price for a win bet. However, at the same time, his racing style to me seems like he's too dependent on the pace, and I feel like he'd be more of an underneath horse if anything, especially at a price. Instead, I add the 6 Boopa Bruiser, who broke at the line last time as the favorite, finishing second by a nose. Most likely wins the race if he doesn't break. And most of the reason why I use this horse has performed very well after being claimed back on March 10th. Was second 2 starts back, albeit he was closing in on a somewhat fast pace to finish second. Still a decent race first off the claim. And then that last race, again, just speaks to this horse being in decent form. And so with the right setup, this horse could be involved. He's probably going to take play, though, just because he was favored last out, and he's at least consistently racing well, and the off-the-claim angle is pretty obvious. So I'm 4, 6, 8, and 9 in that first leg. The second leg is I peek over to London to make sure we're up. Things are still going good, and by that I mean I accidentally opened up Twitter. Yep, we're still fine. 0 minutes to post. We can run through the second leg probably before the 10th at London goes. The second leg of the Meadowlands Pick 4 race, 9 and hours of $5,000 in their last 5 pace, purse of $8,500. We got 1, 4, 9 horses lining up here, and Charlie, with the trend here, is there any kind of outside contender that you're got your eye on?
Let me see. I'm gonna probably say I would probably go with number 7, Sipping on Suds. Like if someone was looking for some type of prize horse to kind of put with all the other logical horses. If you go back to some of the races that this horse did back into November, of last year, racing in the 9 winners of 5,000 last 5, he was kind of right there into the money. So even though one star after the qualifier didn't look too hot, I mean this is could be a horse that could revert back to form.
That was a horse I definitely overlooked, and it looks like we all overlooked by the looks of it. But Mike, starting off with you, because you don't use that horse, but you're still 4 deep. What do you see in this race?
4 deep. I like the 2 inside ones. The 1 National Sealster. This horse's third back drops. Gets McCarthy away from Pat LaChance. Likely favorite, I would think. And decent rally last time to finish 4th. Really had no chance the way the race set up. Was stuck behind and probably needed that one anyway. I would expect a lower price and a bigger effort. The 2 Talent Soup. This horse raced okay off the layoff. Was racing in stakes last year, and the thing I liked here was that 27-1 kicker in a fast race. There was no way he was beating the top 2 in that one. I think any improvement at all at this level, and the horse fits. The 6, work and play hard. This horse has been sharp. Has won 3 out of the last 5. When he gets roughed up, he sort of quits. If he gets any kind of trip at all, he'll be right at the wire. He definitely got roughed up last time. Really no shot. Prior to that, won nicely. And then the 8, Jackson Lucky too, who was hammered last time to 8-5. And this horse is always at this level. Usually tries to set up that big kick. And, last year it was effective for 8 wins, 7 seconds. This year so far, he's not really getting his setups, finding a way to really just be in the wrong spot. Always capable, though, and I'm not going to leave him off. 1, 2, 6, and 8.
Rod, 2 minutes until London. What do you got 3 deep?
I'm 3 deep. I'm going 1, 2, and 9. The 1 National Sealster. I don't really have a lot to add. Andrew McCarthy jumps on. Pat LaChance drove this thing last time. Race okay. I thought could have been a little bit better, but this horse shows some form back last year. Should be tightened up now and ready to go. The 2 Talent Soup, second off the layoff for this one. Draws inside. Vic Kirby's been doing pretty well at the Meadowlands lately, so I'm going to use this one. I think could get a decent trip, closer than he was last time. And then the 9, Better's Glass. I throw this one on. Scotty D. Domenico. Andy Miller gets on. Coming from the smaller tracks over here, I think the jump to the bigger track could help this horse, and he should get away halfway close and get drug up into the race.
As for me, 45 seconds, 1-6 obvious ones here. I'm 3 deep using those 2 and adding for a bit of a price. I know you guys don't like this, the 5 Ghost Pine. So I just dropped my pen. But I really like this horse, even though he has some gait issues over the half. I feel like maybe coming to the bigger track, this horse might be able to turn things around. Plus, at that preferred level over at Freehold, this horse has won before, so he seems like he could fit this class level. It's just going to be whether or not he's able to stay flat, because 2 starts back, he broke at the gate, still rallied home well to end up being the favorite in his next start when he just happened to break at the half. Don't know why. However, comes to the bigger track, could be a bit of an advantage, and this horse definitely will not take play because people do not like Pat LaChance, at least in the betting. 156.
There's kind of a reason for that, but
I know Mike's got his own personal reasons. As they're getting ready to
remember last year, whenever he was driving, what was the name of that horse?
Pen Pal.
Pen Pal. And I loved Pen Pal except for when he was driving.
I played her every week.
Yeah. And then she finally won like at 3-5, and I didn't have her.
I actually remember, and I didn't realize that this was him until recently. There was one show I did where I was really touting Pen Pal, and Bill Matz actually messaged me. Bill Matz is the guy who runs Z-Tam Farms, and he said, I hope she has as much of a chance as you think. That's my story with Pen Pal.
Well, do you have a Pen Pal, Ray?
Pen Pal dominated the show for weeks and weeks and weeks.
I don't.
That was pre-Rod, pre-everybody.
I think I might have a Pen Pal.
It's Charlie.
It's not Charlie. However, Charlie and I have some killer DMs. This last race at London's in motion. At the start, it's off. And pacing, Aaron's Majesty leaves, Little Clate 2, Major Najer makes it 3 across with Major Najer to the inside protecting position. Little Clate parked out around that turn. Aaron's Majesty ducks into third. It's Major Najer taking the lead as they move on to the back stretch. Little Clate backs into second. Aaron's Majesty's in third. Little Turk gets away fourth. Little Quick then back fifth. Buttons is sixth. Out and moving, it's Macademic seventh. Leaving in the back, Tiguan Sealster opening quarter bound. Major Najer holding the lead by 2.5. Over Little Clate, third and off the rail. Aaron's Majesty's flushed out as out and rolling is Little Quick around that turn. Locked in, Little Turk in fifth. Sixth to the outside. It's Macademic turning into the stretch. Tiguan Sealster then towards the rear with Buttons as they move on to that halfway point. Led by Major Najer, soon to experience pressure on the outside from Aaron's Majesty, who matches strides moving into that turn, takes a narrow advantage moving on to Circuit 2. Second over in that flow, Little Quick. In fourth, locked in, Little Clate to the inside, a length and 3/4 off the lead. Third over here comes Buttons to the back stretch, then to the inside, locked in, Little Turk as they move on to 3/4, 3 wide, Little Quick trying to take over from the new leader, Aaron's Majesty. 3 wide, then comes Buttons. It's Macademic tracking him. Then Little Clate circles around Major Najer, who dropped anchor, moving into that final turn. Battle on the front here. Little Quick and Aaron's Majesty maybe encountering soon Buttons as they turn for home. In front, Little Quick inside, battling back. Little Clate, but it's Little Quick in front. Buttons, Aaron's Majesty drops back. Little Quick, Buttons is rushing up late, but Little Quick holds on to win. Second there, Buttons, Aaron's Majesty third, going the mile and a 16th. Why did I think the 6 was the 3 in the stretch? I had a stroke in the middle of that race, and it was not of genius. Little Quick at 5-2. 8, 9, 6, 3. I think it was 8, 9, 6, 3.
No, the 3 was way gone.
Oh, then who's? Oh, 8, 9, 6, 5. It's Macademic. 8.
All right, so we're halfway through this pick 4.
Exactly halfway. And completing that super high 5, the 2, Tiguan Sealster. 8, 9, 6, 5, 2. Over the Meadowlands. We talked about the second leg of that pick 4. The third leg is what comes after the second. It's an hours of $8,500 pace. More horses lining up here, more being 8. And Charlie, give us that juicy price that you see here.
Okay, so it looked like the top 3 logical horses in this race is going to be the 3, 4, and the number 8 into this race.
Mm-hmm.
I would kind of lean more to number 3 as my top pick in the race because he's more of a front runner, and Calvin B and Santiago Style, they're both more of a closing horses at the last moment. So I'm thinking maybe if Jimmy Roan can, get to the front, set some nice fractions, that he could probably steal it based off of that last race when he finished third, 151 and 2.
I know, Rod, you agree with that to an extent in this race.
Yeah, I do. I'm using all 3 of those plus the 7. So the 3 all black stride. Like Charlie said, this is the front end horse. He's in good form right now. He seems to be coming into his own since shipping over. This horse, he's kind of a hit or miss type. I thought he was getting a little bit of unnecessary play last week, moving back to the big track. And he raced well, I thought, in that race. What are you doing? So I'm going to use him because there's not a lot of early speed here. The 4, Calvin B, I throw him on race first over last week. Not really a winning type, but this horse fits in this class, and I think you have to respect his chances in here, especially since he draws halfway inside. The 7, Mr. Truth, I throw this one on. This is another speed horse. Eric Abatello jumps back on. 2 starts back, he drove this horse and just was caught in a bad spot. I actually used this horse last week, and he raced okay, but I think the driver switch back to Eric Abatello should be putting this horse in play once again, and he can get home with anything else in here. And then the 8, Santiago Style, I think is pretty obvious. The one negative is that he draws outside, and he's going to have to come from dead last. So 3, 4, 7, 8.
Mike, you're in a somewhat... Oh, hello, voice. That's what I sound like. Oh.
What about the number 6 horse?
That's where I was getting to Mike, because Mike keys in on that.
Oh, I'm 4 deep, but Charlie, I do like the 6 quite a bit. I thought the horse had really no chance last time, was misdriven, got the big track, and that was that race when Sam's Triple Crown kind of went to the front and never looked back. This horse has been facing better. That 26 and 4 kicker would play a lot better in this race, I think. I'm also going to use the 4 Calvin B just because I think he might be sitting on a win a little bit. I mean, he won 7 times last year. It's just, he moves inside, and that's another thing. I just don't want him to beat me. The 7 I'm definitely using. No chance last time. Gets Abatello back. Has a chance to be in the top 2 early. And then the 8, Santiago Style, really no prayer from where he was completely airborne and lost to a perfect trip repeater, that came right up the rail. Pantaleano is driving very well, I think, at the Meadowlands, and he's stuck there, which is not due, especially against these guys. He's a definite use here. So 4, 6, 7, and 8.
I got 6. I got 8. Those 2 I agree with. I love Inspector Clouseau Hanover here. The horse makes a lot of sense. Of course, that's why I use Santiago Style. We talked a lot about this one. The 1 horse, quite literally, is also another one I use, and of course you guys don't use for some reason. But I like the fact that this guy, Dolroar, the 1, drops down in class. Look back, February 8th, Yonkers. First over, going against Nawers at 10,000, wins there as the favorite, and has just seemed to be outclassed in his last couple of starts. Tried to come from off the pace over at Pocono. Last horse, I think, to do that was Lazarus after he dropped dead halfway through the race. And that said, maybe this Dolroar could come screeching home. That was terrible. But that doesn't take away from the fact that I do like the 1 in this 10th race as a possible price. I'm 168. In that 3rd leg, the Meadowlands pick 4. I got a wagging finger that won't stop. All right, so this last leg, since no one else has anything to add to that, is the 11th because it's the fourth leg of the sequence. Now there's a $5,000 in the last 5 pace, purse of $8,500 on the line. We got more horses lining up, more horses being exactly 9 in the nightcap tomorrow evening at the Meadowlands. Charlie, first things first, who are we watching out for?
Let's see. I would say I would have to probably go with JoJo's Love. $12,500 claimer. I guess he's kind of moving up in class since this condition is kind of more per se $15,000 claimer. But I mean, I kind of like with the way that Victor Kirby drives at the Meadowlands. So he's one of the logical contenders in this race. But the horse that I believe is dangerous in this race is number 1, Perfectly Close. If you look at his races at the Meadowlands at the beginning of the year in January, he always ran right into the money with Corey Callahan.
Someone with a xylophone? Xylophone? Anyone?
I agree with the one, Perfectly Close. I love this horse in this race. Coming from Yonkers, I think this horse, he does well at the Meadowlands. He did win there last year. This horse with the rail, Eric Abatello, this is a big drop in class actually for this horse. Those non-winners at 6 to 8s over at Yonkers are very, very tough. This is not really a horse that is good over at Yonkers per se because he doesn't have a lot of really. I think the big track is going to suit this horse very well, and this is a perfect spot for this horse to rebound and get back into form and win at an okay price. And then I'm also going to use the 2, Spaghetti Eddie. This one last week raced first over. The week before raced first over. The week before was first over, parked the entire mile. You get the trend. He just needs a trip. He draws inside. Hopefully he gets one. He should make the front and probably let somebody go. If not, this is going to set up for the 1. But I think these 2 horses, they kind of stood out a little bit to me in this race. And like I said, the 1 is my key player in here. So 1-2.
Spaghetti Eddie, what a dumb name. Mike, you're 4 deep. You're the deepest of all of us in this leg. How so?
4 deep, no 1 for me. I don't know. I get it, but I'll let that one beat me, I think. Using the 2, though, Spaghetti Eddie, like Rod said, terrible trips the last 3, has done okay at this level. Just facing better ones and draws perfect again. The 4, Joe, was very consistent, always right in the money, claimed and stepped for a 20% barn. That horse is a must-use. And then I like 2 horses that came out of that rather swell race last time. The 6, Fearless Leader, who, if you look back March 17th, that was a giant race first up and just kept coming as the favorite. Then last time, really no shot from where he was. Still was 2-1, keeps McCarthy. I think this horse is a must-use. We'll be, I think, get a little bit of a better setup here. And then the 7, rocking with the best. 2 wide trips in a row, wanted Freehold to win. Last time was outside and could only manage 3rd in that race. Very consistent, has won 2 out of the last 4, has been facing decent ones. This horse gets Marone, and I like that also. A little bit of a setup here. Some of these horses inside like to go. I feel like this horse could get a covered trip. I'm going to use that one. 2, 4, 6, 7.
I'm pretty conservative in this last leg because I'm too deep. Spaghetti Eddie's the one horse that really stood out to me because Rod talked about crap trips. I mean, good horse most of the time, at least if they don't totally drop dead. Aside from that, I also use the 5 Drunken Terror. This horse has been racing very well in the 12-5 claiming ranks, going first over, on the lead, second over, third over, whatever. He's usually in contention somehow. He now moves in for an optional tag worth more than the tag he was going for. So technically a move up in class, draws well here too. Lot seems to be working for him in his favor. And he could potentially be decent value. So 2-5 for me in that last leg. I think that last leg is very tough. That was a Rod. Do you not Do you know how timing works? That was you had it over me as I was talking, and I was the last one. Rod, I'm gonna have to take out both of my fists, and then I'm gonna have to draw your face closer to them, so that way it's not me punching you as much as it is your face encountering my fists, which does not leave me liable. And so.
I have no idea what's going on.
I said that was headshot. He was talking about punching me in the face, so I said
Headshot. Ooh.
Rod, what's your pick 4 ticket?
my pick 4 is 489 with 129 with 3478 with 12. It's $24.
Mikey Mike.
Okay, mine is 49 with 1268 with 4678 with 2467 64 for 50 cents. I'll be playing that.
And my ticket for 50 cents, 4689 with 156 with 168 with 25. That's $36 for 50 cents. I don't know if Charlie, you threw together a ticket by chance, or if you're saving that for tomorrow.
Not yet. I'll tweet one out tomorrow.
All right, keep an eye out. That's at @triple_Charlie B. It's 3 underscores, right?
I believe. I don't really know myself.
He makes it so the riffraff can't figure it out. He only wants legitimate humans following him.
I mean, I have no idea how I'm following him then. So then we have one more thing on the agenda, and that is the Levies to talk about. Levy it for last, like they say, and they being no one. You didn't let me finish. Rod, you got to let me finish. It's called timing, and the idea of timing is that you space out the words to add emphasis. It's an old radio technique. That's why you have 7-second delays so people can't say F-bombs over national radio. We don't know anything about that. Yonkers Raceway. Let's call back to the first hour. Yonkers Raceway hosts the third preliminary of the George Morton Levy series Saturday evening, March 31st. We have 4 divisions to talk about on the latter half of their Saturday program. Starts with race 7. $50,000 divisions. First division gathers 8, as do the rest of them. 8 horses lining up here. Seems like a pretty contentious bunch, potentially. I'm not sure if anybody stood out on the page for you two, and Charlie, you included. I don't know if you really look at these races at all.
My top pick probably in this race would be number 3, Missile J, and then I'll probably go with number 2, Makaso, and either the 1 or the 4 for my third selection.
How about on your guys' end, Mike and Rod?
For me, I think it's Makaso's race to really lose. Crushed that first race, first out. Last time had the 8-hole against Rock and Ron, Luciano. No chance whatsoever. Was driven conservatively. Raced okay. I thought, the horse had a chance to win turning for home. Just couldn't overcome that 8-hole. And there's really nothing. The way Missile J's been driven has been extremely curious the last 2 starts. I don't know what Dietrich is necessarily waiting for, but this horse really has yet to be, thrown into third gear, it seems, and, is not really finishing races. So I have no interest in that horse at another short price. I loved Better Memories last week, and we actually bet this horse. Brutal trip. Was loaded the entire way around. Couldn't catch Evening of Pleasure, but was 25-1. The problem is the price this week is going to be probably 5 or 6, and we sort of missed the wedding there. I like him still. I'm not sure he could beat the 2. I would probably be playing exactly 4.
I agree. I think between the 2 and the 4, those are my top 2, and then Missile J is probably my third choice there. Like you said with the 4 last week, he's 4 wide, just past the 3/4 pole, and all the way around the last turn. Just had a ton of go, and really lost about 4 lengths around the last turn. It was a tough trip, but again, this is the type of horse, he's got to be in a better spot than what he was last time, and he very well could get away close here and pounce late, but so I agree. This horse, it's really his race to lose. Draws inside. Last week he raced really well from the 8-hole. Timmy kind of had to take off of him to drive Missile J, but I think between the 2 and the 4, it could be a really good race late between those two.
None of the outside horses really seem like a contender to you guys? Because for me, I'm looking at the 6 and the 7 going, these could be potential prices.
Not until a half mile, I don't.
Really?
I could see the 6 only because it's Yannick, and he could blast off. But then he missed last week too, and I don't really necessarily like that.
I'm thinking. Well, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking from that outside post. Look, 2 starts back. This horse raced from off the pace. That might be what they could set up here with, especially from the 6-hole.
It's very possible.
And the same with the 7, because the 7 put in a good mile first leg or second leg.
He was leaving 2 back, and they were going 1,000,000 miles an hour early. So he tucked into 4th because it was wide open. And all he really did was just sit there, waited for the horses in front of him to fade, and then he popped late. I mean, I agree. This is a good price play if you're looking for a better price horse in this race. He's definitely the one you should be looking at.
And that's exactly the case that I'm making here, because I mean, Makatso is pretty obvious to the inside, but it's not like Great Vintage is not in it with the potential to have the race set up for him. He's at a disadvantage post-wise, but that's the reason why he's going to be a price.
But the race hinges on what Missile J does and when he goes.
Which at the same time, like if Makatso's heavily bet enough, Missile J could end up being value too. Like it's all dependent on how the board really plays out here. One thing is for sure though, Caviart Luca will not be value in this race. Not after last week.
No.
And even with the inside draw. That said, I mean, Aurelia Joe to me is possibly another exotic horse. That last trip just really stands out. Although this horse usually doesn't leave, this horse can come from off the pace to at least hit the ticket. And that could be good in the exotics. That's my case. But Makatso's pretty obvious in that first division. Second division, though, has 8 more horses. It's race number 8. And this one is Dr. J. Hanover, who I heard has been sued for malpractice. Turns out, horses can't be doctors. I learned that the hard way.
Oh, the thing is they put him in another race where he's going to control it again. The horses inside him really have no gate speed. He's going to pop, get to front, and probably walk around there and win again at this time 2 to 5. It's a weak division. A bit of a legend's a nice horse, but he's outposted. And there's really nobody to carry him in the race. I don't like the 7 or the 8. I was at my place. I loved 2 back. Last time first up, no chance. He's going to sit the pocket likely, and it's just a matter of can he catch, Dr. J or not. So it's those 2. I'm sorry I don't have anything clever to offer you, but that's the way it's going to go.
Does anyone have anything clever?
No, this looks like a race where it's just best not to try to outsmart yourself and just go with what you see that's on paper. And Dr. J. Hanover looks the best, and you might be able to throw, bit of a legend in and another daily copy underneath, until like your exactas and trifectas, but that's all I see.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as these guys. I think Dr. J. Hanover is just, last week he walked on the front and he still come home in 55 in a piece like it was nothing. It's tough to do, and the way he did it effortlessly. So I think, he's in top form right now, and he's going to be tough to beat, even going into the final.
My question, and it was kind of the question Mike was posing, is there a horse that will be stalking him that could possibly outsprint him in the stretch? Because if he has an uncontested lead, that could very well be his Achilles heel of this race.
I would think the 2's going to get an easier trip.
That's
from
what I'm
this post,
thinking.
And the fact that nobody else is, going to be in that pocket. I could be wrong about this, but he's fast enough to get where he needs to be, especially with Brennan.
I'm thinking that Always at My Place could get the setup where if he's at least like if Dr. J takes a lot of money and Always at My Place is around like 9-1, which I don't know if that's likely, but that would be value in this race.
You think you're gonna get 9-1 on him?
I don't know. It depends on who gets bet heavily in this race.
I mean, if you get that run.
Yeah,
to the window.
Exactly.
The horse was 5-1 against him last week, so I think you're probably.
Well, Dr. J was also even money, and I'm thinking he's going to be even heavier of a favorite this time.
Well, if you're looking for a price play to use in exotics, I would throw Mr. Daytona in there.
Okay.
Because last time he had the 8-hole ducked, no chance. They basically went around the track.
Mm-hmm.
And the horse raced okay. The week before that, he got away third, which he'll be getting away in a similar spot in this race. And he only got beat ahead. He let everything unfold and snuck up there and stole some spots away. And it very well could happen in this race, too, where Dr. J. Hanover leaves, some other horses run at him, and this horse is just sitting back there waiting for things to open up.
He definitely makes sense in the exotics, no doubt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you want an exotic player to price, that's the one you should be playing.
In fact, he's so exotic, he's from Florida. Actually, that's the exact opposite of exotic. Ooh. We call that a hot take.
Hot take, Ray.
I only raised that question because to me, Always at My Place, if he's value, which that would be around like 8 or 9-1, then this race might be worth playing. Otherwise, caliber of horse wise, I'm not really sure who could benefit off a setup here against Dr. J. Especially considering the fact no one's really going to challenge him for the lead. That said, there's another division. That's the third division. It's race number 10. $50,000 purse. We have 8 more lining up here. Rockin' Ron to the center of the gate. 2 for 2 in the series so far. Keystone Velocity draws a bit better, as does Western Fame. And right off the bat, I'm already kind of interested in Western Fame.
I mean, he's okay, but you got to try to look elsewhere. Keystone Velocity last week, coming from off the pace, had no chance against Dr. J. Hanover off that slow half. He's gonna get bet. I think he's probably gonna end up being the favorite, and that's really the horse I'm gonna key off of. Rockin' Ron, yeah, use him, but the key to me in the race is Keystone Velocity. For the second week in a row, he should be right there.
I disagree with you, but maybe Charlie doesn't.
I actually agree. I think, the Western Fame, Keystone Velocity, and Rockin' Ron are, those are going to be the top 3 bet horses into the race. And I think Killer Martini, he could run anywhere from second to third as far as underneath any type of exotic that you might be playing, whether it's a exacta, trifecta, or a superfecta that race.
I'm not sure if, Mike, you have anything creative in this race.
I don't have a lot creative, but I can tell you that the Western Fame, was third back last time, did get a perfect trip, but raced extremely well, I thought. Now draws the rail, which is the best post this horse has had. There's other horses that are going to take money in the race. The 2's going to take money again off that rally, like Rod said. Rockin' Ron's going to take his money. He's been 1-9, 1-2 in the 2 races he's been in. The Evening of Pleasure is going to take money. He was 3-5 last time. I'm curious what kind of drive you're going to get from this horse, which could really screw the race up. the one stands to get a perfect trip again because of all this outside activity and all this speed, and it's just a matter of where he's placed early. He should have an easier time of it, and can he follow the right one when the time comes? So if you're going to get, you got 4.5 to 1 last week. I liked him. You're probably going to get maybe even higher than that this week because of everything else that's in the race. So I think until proven otherwise, this horse, now a newly turned 5, could be improving and could be better than these right now. So I would be on the 1.
That's exactly how I see it, especially considering, too, that the half is Western Fame's game. That's what he proved last season as a 4-year-old, and it seems like he's doing that as a 5-year-old, too. That last race just really stands out. And the post relief is, without a doubt, the biggest thing, considering, too, Keystone Velocity also gets post relief. And when Allard gets post relief, especially with Keystone Velocity, there is usually a lot of money bet down on that. This race just sets up for tremendous value on Western Fame, and I can't see it any way else.
Agree.
That said, Rod, you're wrong. Last leg.
No.
Last leg.
Rod is correct in a way that the 3 had, or Western Keystone Velocity had absolutely no chance last time. He is absolutely correct about that.
Mm-hmm. However, could you be right about this last division? Division 4 of 4. There are 4. I had remembered. 8 more horses lining up here for the final division of the Levy. Race number 11, Saturday evening. This is another interesting field lining up with to the inside, all bets off, getting major relief from the 7 to the rail. Possibly the favorite here. Preliminary thoughts, pun intended.
I'm not gonna go heavy on this horse. This is really the wide open race of them.
Mm-hmm.
Between all 4 divisions. Several horses could possibly win this race. It's all going to depend what happens early. The one is going to take a lot of money. I think the key there is that they don't let the horse walk around the racetrack. If that happens, he wins for fun.
Mm-hmm.
The one I think that is going to be an okay price in that race is the 4, Luciano. Blumenfeld, Brent Holland, this horse raced well last time. Sat behind Rock and Ron and finished second. He was coming to him late. I mean, Rock and Ron wasn't going to lose that race, but I thought the horse raced really well. His last 4 starts have all been really good. And if he gets a trip and gets drug up close, turning for home, I think he's got a shot at winning this race. As long as they go, if they go 57.5, then the race is over. But if they go decent fractions up front, then this horse definitely has a chance at a pretty nice price.
Mike, for you, anything else?
Well, my problem with Luciano is that it's just that perfect trip last time. I thought the horse raced well enough. It's going to be a price again. I don't know if I can envision that same trip. However, he might have been in the best race. So, there's something to be said for that. Someone on LA has raced well so far. Was a little short, I thought, in the first leg. Last time, just got run over by a horse with a better trip. So, and the fact that this horse is drawn outside, you're going to get more of a price than you normally would, say, if he was sitting on the rail. I feel like, you could key the tickets around those 2. I don't know what to do with all bets off. He's, again, another half-mile horse. He's been flat as a pancake both races. Until he wakes up, I want nothing to do with him, especially at a low price here. I would be more 4 and 6.
Well, I'm surprised you guys haven't even mentioned the horse that I'm looking at. Maybe Charlie will.
Well, I particularly don't like Somewhere in LA's draw because I think that, if he tries to go to the front, he's going to have to pay for it because I think it's going to be a lot of front speed, and if he goes to the front, he's going to have to earn it. And I don't think, that Bartlett is going to be able to, keep him going with the type of movement that's going to be going into this race. So My top two picks in this race are going to be All Bets Off and Long Live Rock. But, I mean, for the most part, I mean, this race is wide open, and I wouldn't take a short price onto any horse in this race.
Agreed there, and I was curious what price Long Live Rock might go off as. I'm always kind of skeptical, though, because any Allard horse I always expect to be the favorite, especially with a decent draw. However, if All Bets Off can somehow take money like he did 2 starts back, especially drawing the rail again, you might get a decent price on Long Live Rock. Who knows? With Luciano, I definitely see that horse as a contender. My one qualm is that this horse has never left the rail in his last 6 starts. And to me, that reads off as a very one-dimensional or one-move type of horse, which, in terms of long shots, those aren't really the kind that really garner my attention. That's all that said, though. I'm kind of interested, too, in Waikiki Beach. What's going on with him? He's just been going the wrong way his last 2 starts, and I'm curious if this horse could potentially wake up or if he's just going the wrong way.
Well, he's a horse that should be doing more than what he's doing, especially after those 2 wins at Pompano. I mean, he's obviously a good horse. Something has been amiss with him recently. You know, maybe it was just the ship. But I agree with you. The horse is supposed to be doing better than he has been. Maybe he's just the type that needs to be sitting up close, and this might be a spot that he can do that and be able to pounce. But he's obviously got to improve off of what he's been doing.
At the very least, his last start looks like a bit of an improvement from his one prior. But that said, too, like even outside of Long Live Rock, there are not really many prices that stand out here. Franco Rayner has been flat in his last 2 starts. Chumley always seems like this horse can barely walk. However, 2 starts back, still managed to finish second against Makatso. So maybe if this horse is overlooked, could be worth a bet too. Doesn't have the best draw, but could potentially get involved, because this horse has raced really well at Yonkers in the past. But I remember in particular watching this horse just lazily gated in the pocket in that first preliminary. And it seemed like he got into some trouble again last out, impeding a horse, and ended up getting disqualified. But other than Chumley and Long Live Rock, in terms of discernible form, there's not much else in this race. Waikiki Beach is a wild card, assuming he can wake up, but you are relying heavily on a 180-degree turnaround.
Yeah.
I don't like that horse at all. I want nothing to do with the 1, nothing to do with the 2, nothing to do, maybe a little of the 3 just on the post switch, but no thanks.
Not even the 7.
7 I despise.
Really?
No, thank you. Oh no, no way.
Hmm.
I could see the 5 because at least this horse has been, making impressions and getting checks. I mean, he's cheaper than the rest of these, but at least he's getting a piece of it. I don't see how the 7 gets any trip in the race. Not from there.
I mean, horse got a pocket trip from post 6 2 starts back.
Yeah, but that was a stone cold setup. Everyone sat and let him go.
All that said,
if you like him, use him.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The horse could be a potential value. Don't sue me. I'm not Dr. J. Hanover.
You have to go into the horse favor.
I mean, that's how racing works anyway. So much of racing is more luck.
Last couple races at the Meadowlands, top pick winners. Check it out. It's all there. Top pick winner, last race at Woodbine. It's all free.
At NAHUpicks.com. Again, racing analysis every day from Woodbine, the Meadowlands, and Western Fair. Make sure you also check out the merch section. Hopefully.
Yeah, buy a t-shirt.
Buy a goddamn t-shirt. Hopefully, my natural good looks helped sell the fashion statement that is North American Harness Update accessories. This is also a very nice warm jacket. It's usually pretty cold in this basement, and sure, the ice caps are melting because it's turning to spring, but you know what? I haven't been cold all night, and I'd like to thank this jacket for doing that, as well as the warm sentiment that I get from being joined by you guys every week. Mike Pribozie, Rod Allums Jr., and Charlie B.
Thanks, Charlie.
No problem, anytime.
Yeah, you're welcome back whenever you want. I do mean whenever you want.
I will contact your booking agent, Ray, to see if it's okay.
All right, you know Rod's email. That said, I have been Ray Cotolo. Whatever that was, I don't know. As much as I don't know myself, I do know that they're Mike Pribozie, Rod Allums Jr., and Charlie B. And next week, more Levy and more harness racing discussion. But until then, just sit around, do something productive. No, bye, Felicia. Do something productive. Help someone out. Be a kind soul. And if you're going to make a joke, at least make sure it's a good one.